Happy New Year, crazy party people in movie land. This is the movie show, and it's 2021. So we're going to take a look back at 2020, and we're going to go over the worst films, the best films, the 20 greatest films of the last 20 years. We're going to have movie talk, lots of film fun, all the usual stuff. So join us for a party on the movie show.
You talking to me?
Here, looks like you boys have seen a lot of action.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hello and welcome to the movie show. I'm David Roberts and I'm joined by Greg Fisher on this New Year themed special looking back at 2020. So, how you doing, Greg? Has you been partying hard over the New Year period?
Well, Happy New Year to you, my friend. I've been partying like an absolute legend, getting that year done and dusted, getting it well behind us, welcome in the new year. So one last time, let's go back over 2020 and see what was going on in the world of films.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I thought first, Dave, we would take a look at the top 5 worst films of 2020. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds good. Let's get this out of the way first.
Well, that's it. And let's remember as well that we can only really talk about the films that we have seen that were 2020 films. So this does not mean the worst of the worst because we haven't seen them all yet. But these are the worst ones out of all the 2020 films we've seen, right?
That's correct.
Okay, that's correct, Mundo. So let's have a look at what was behind the doors of number 5. Let's see what we got. There we go.
There it is. Doolittle. What a pile of this was.
The Eddie Murphy version was 10 times better than this.
It was. It was much better, much funnier. I mean, this is the first film in, I think I was reading earlier, first film in 6 years that Robert Downey Jr. did that wasn't Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah. Is it? Is he just done pure Iron Man for the last God knows how many years? So yeah, Doolittle, I mean, he talks to the animals, he squawks. You know, it's just, yeah, it's a bit of a turkey. Okay, let's have a look at what was number 4.
Oof, there we go, eh? The Tax Collector.
The Tax Collector. Now, our man Shia LaBeouf has been in the headlines again recently. He's, I think he's got one of these cases where his ex-girlfriend has just, you know, basically shopped him for all sorts of abuse, and he's turned around and said, "That's all I've done for the last, you know, X amount of years of my life is abuse myself and other people, so I've got no excuse." And it's like, whoa. So
very heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff, but, you know, that's what, you know, The Tax Collector, yeah. I mean, this was an awful film. It was
a shame because I was excited when I first saw the trailer for it or heard about it. I was like, that seems like an interesting project for him. But
yeah. I mean, but then I was starting to read things like he had this tattoo on his stomach, you know, this like certain... you know, Latinx gang members might have over there. And he actually got the tattoo done. Yeah. The actual tattoo for the film. And bastard. You think, that is a bit, you know, I mean, all right, get one that's like semi-permanent or something that just lasts for, you know, a couple of weeks. But, you know, what the hell?
I'd rather get the bubblegum sticker tattoos that we used to have as kids. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was trying to sell itself as a little bit of a Training Day style film. Which it was, but it was just a real sort of turd version. Right, let me know what's behind door number 3.
Now, this is a film we covered earlier in the series, of course, on the Halloween special, The Rental. And we said back then how bad this piece was.
Well, really, that's it. I don't want to even waste any more of my life talking about this turd film. Go back and have a look what we thought about it on our Halloween special. I think that's episode 5 of the movie show. But yeah, it's a bit of a stinker. Okay, number 2. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's Eurovision with Will Ferrell, and
I'd actually forgotten about this film at this point. That's how.
Well, this
long
is
ago
an
it felt
interesting
and how
point.
bad it
This
was.
is an interesting point that, when it gets to the end of the year, you can remember what came out in the last couple of months. You can almost remember some of the summer films. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that, etc. But when you start to go back to these films that came out early on in the year, it's like, was that this year? Was that, or was that another? I can't remember. And you start to lose your marbles with it. But yeah, that was earlier this year. I don't know when it was, actually. It was probably about May or something like that. Or
Yeah,
April.
it was near the beginning of lockdown, I remember.
Yeah.
It was. I remember watching it because it came out on that. Because, of course, Eurovision was cancelled and this was almost like the replacement for it. And
Wow.
did a review on the website of it. And yeah, it was not very good at all.
No,
put
I
it
mean,
mildly.
some people enjoyed it. I think really hardcore fans of the Eurovision Song Contest got something out of it, and it was enjoyable for them. But yeah, it's not Will Ferrell's best. And really, if you want to know our, deep thoughts about it, then read Dave's scathing review on our website, moremovies.co.uk. You can go find it on the film reviews there. Okay, that leads us to the very worst film of 2020. Let's take a look.
So, the worst film of the year that we've picked out here is American Pickle.
No.
Wow.
Now, this really was bad. I thought it was terrible. I mean, trying to say something positive about it, I think Seth Rogen got some praise for playing dual roles because he plays the old ancestor as well as the young contemporary guy. But, oh, God, it was, it was painful. Considering it was supposed to be a comedy, this film was painful.
Yeah, it wasn't funny at all. And this is, Seth Rogen's worst piece, I think. It's just...
Yeah, definitely.
It's just an absolute turd. What anyone was thinking when they made it, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I suppose this kind of film's been done before, like something like Encino Man, where they unearth a caveman. It was like Brendan Fraser and, and Pauly Shore. And that was funny, though. The guy goes to high school and it's, obviously it's a little bit dated now, but at the time it was a bit of a hit and that's how you do it. But this thing, I don't know. Absolute flusher. Flush that turd down the pipes.
Get rid of it.
With the rest of 2021. 2020.
Yeah.
With the rest of 2020. See, I did that again there.
Yeah, just 5 terrible films, and there was some bad stuff in the year, but overall it was quite good. So it was kind of hard to pick out the bad ones, but when they were bad, they seemed to stink.
Well, to be honest, when we started to review all the films from 2020, I realised how little actually I'd watched from last year. I mean, we've both done good handful or a couple of handfuls each, but compared to the amount of films that came out, I've hardly seen any.
It's difficult though sometimes, isn't it? You get such packed release schedules and so much comes out. It's hard to watch everything.
It is. Now that leads me to the question of what are your choices for films that you haven't seen this year, 2020, but you still want to catch up on. Let's hear a few from you.
Yeah, I picked out a few films that I hadn't had a chance to see yet, but I'm really interested in catching up on. The first one I picked out was His House.
Yeah.
Which is that British film.
It's British.
Are you British?
Yeah, it's a British horror film about these South Sudan asylum seekers who move into a house only to... It's a horror film, so apparently the house is haunted.
Yeah.
That's what I get from the trailer, but it looked really interesting, something a bit different. But I haven't had a chance to watch it.
I think Liam Jackson, our friend over there, did a good review of that. I haven't seen it yet either. So, yeah, that would be one for myself. How about Black Bear? There's another one. I'm really interested to see that.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
I
Looks
have,
good.
yeah, it seems really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a good cast and it's supposed to be a pretty good film. So got to catch up on that one soon. Who knows? By the time we even put this out, I might have even watched it. Zappa was another one for me I haven't seen yet. Directed by Alex Winter, of course, from Bill and Ted. He plays Bill S. Preston, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Keanu is Ted Theodore Logan, yeah. So he's directed that documentary / rockumentary about Frank Zappa. Got to see that. And there's
I
that
really want to
Bee
see
Gees one, remember I said about?
Oh, yes.
There's that as well. Got to see that.
Coming out. I really want to see that. I'm Thinking of Ending Things as well. The Charlie Kaufman film.
Yeah, seen that one. Watched that when it came out. Did a review. Can read our review again on the website if you want to know my thoughts on that. But I'd advise you see it, Dave. It is a bit. It's a bit of a headbender. It's a very original film, so you got to give it a go. You know, you got to give it a watch.
I mean, there's also the Five Bloods. I really want to watch the Spike Lee film with of course Chadwick Boseman.
Watch that as well.
Which, it's been highly recommended by multiple people, including yourself. So I really need to watch it.
Talking of Spike Lee, are you British? So watch the Five Bloods. That's worth a watch. Some good performances there. As I said, got a review on the website. If you wanted to read that, you could. If you're a reader, you could read it on the website. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Now this is a film I got to see. Have you seen anything about this?
I haven't. No.
So it's a period piece. I think it's like 1700s somewhere. This woman's commissioned to paint a portrait of this, gentrified lady, I think. But they end up falling in love and having a bit of an affair, But it looks like a really rip-roaring romantic drama. And the visuals in it, some of the shots I've seen are like paintings. And that's like the main pull for me towards it, because some of the cinematography was just, oh my God, it looks incredible. Worth a watch for that alone, I reckon. So yeah. I'll be chasing that one up. And the other one was a VFW. Have you seen anything for this? It's got like Stephen Lang and a few others in it, where they're just like holed up in some bar and they're being attacked from the outside, and they have to kind of defend the place like an Alamo. And it looks like really sort of, lowbrow, cheesy exploitation style cinema, but we all love something like that now and again. And anyway, VFW is one I got to see as well still. So
yeah, not come across that. I have to give that a watch. I think that sounds good.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be a good one to watch together. It'll be a bit of a laugh, that one, I think. Yeah.
The other two I wanted to watch was I Used to Go Here, which has got Gillian Jacobs in.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me, so I watched the trailer for it, and it looks interesting.
I thought it looked like a kind of different kind of indie film. And I still want to watch as well Onward, which is the Pixar film with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt as like these...
elves or whatever they are.
Yeah. I do like Pixar films, so... Yeah,
I didn't know about that one, and when you mentioned it, I looked up the trailer and watched it, and it was a really funny trailer, and it looked like a really good story. So, I'd like to see that one as well. Looks like a lot of fun. And the other one I was thinking of was Mangrove, the Steve McQueen film. I think he did it with... it was a BBC production. But,
yes, yeah.
It's that period thing, 1970s. That looked like a really powerful film, so I'd like to catch up with that over this next few weeks.
But plenty we haven't seen.
A strange year for film as well, because so much was held back, and still is. We won't see Bond until this year now, hopefully at some point, or Dune is another one that would have came out by now, but they've held that back, and now there's all this furore over, was it Warner Brothers that have announced a load of films that will be released on HBO Max at the same time as theatre releases. So they've been lambasted by Denis Villeneuve. They've been lambasted by Christopher Nolan. So, two of the biggest filmmakers of today, they're not happy.
I think there's a lot more behind it as well, because kind of the initial outcry was about, oh, well, people safety and stuff like that. But reading more into it now, I think it seems there's a lot of problems people have with the contracts that were initially agreed for these films. And kind of the payoffs and stuff. Not going to be as held as they're going to be, and there seems like there's some lawsuits gearing up. So it should be an
lawyers
interesting
making
time.
some serious money over this one. Some of these high flying legal eagles. It's party time for them. It's party time for you boys. Anyway, I mean, we're going to have to just see how it unfolds. Obviously, we're going to be keeping an eye on it and talking about it as the year progresses. I personally, as soon as things are green light again, I can't wait to get back into the movie theaters. So hopefully everybody who really loves going to see movies and loves that communal experience will be of the same mind, and we'll all jump back in once it's safe to do so. But,
and I think films like Bond and stuff are going to draw audiences straight back as soon as it's a possibility,
Yeah, and these are the films you want to see on the big screen. I definitely want to see Dune on the big screen, and I want to see Bond on the big screen. And I want to see as much as possible on the big screen, to be honest. So, I can't wait to get back to it. But there we go. There's some stuff that we want to see that we haven't caught up yet from 2020. Let's talk about film of the year, shall we?
Yes, film of the year.
Roll titles. So film of the year this year, what we have chosen was Mank, which was directed, of course, by David Fincher, stars Gary Oldman as Herman Mankiewicz, screenwriter extraordinaire and the man responsible for writing Citizen Kane, widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. There was a lot of anticipation around this one, Dave, before it came out. A hell of a lot. A bit of a build-up, as they say.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about it and saw the first trailer, because it kind of came sideways to me because I hadn't heard any rumours about it or anything. But as soon as I kind of heard properly about it in the first trailer and stuff, I was very excited. The fact it was going to be about Citizen Kane, the fact it was a David Fincher film, in black and white, I thought this is exciting, and the trailer was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big build-up to a big film to finish the year on, really.
I think as well, because we are the kind of circles we're moving in terms of our interests and online and stuff like that. We talk to a lot of movie people who would consider themselves real film buffs or cinephiles or film fans. That they were the ones really probably getting very excited for it, as we were ourselves, because for obvious reasons. But maybe outside of that bubble, maybe not so much. It's black and white. Yeah. It's about very esoteric material. It's kind of to your average Joe. I mean, I know loads of people that if they looked at a film like this, it would just go, and they just think, not watching that. But
absolutely,
like I say, film fans are like Mank.
Absolutely, I think after watching it, one of the first things I kind of pulled from it was, as we were talking, that it's a film that if you're a film buff, you're gonna really appreciate this film. I think for mainstream audiences, this is forget it. It's not gonna. I don't think it'll work anyway. For kind of casual Joes,
No. So therefore, to some extent, an indulgent project. Now, David Fincher's dad wrote this.
Yep.
So
a long time ago.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. So and there's this whole thing about him having scripts rejected in the past. I read an article the other day that purported that he had a bit of a spicy or dicey past with some of the big Hollywood big cheeses there, and that obviously is the kind of thing that is covered in the film to some degree with Mankiewicz and the studio bosses. So there's almost a little bit of what would you call it? I suppose self.
self-reflective kind of parallel.
Self-reflective.
I
was probably thinking more along the lines of some sort of self-therapy going on for him here, some cathartic
possibly,
of bitch in the subtext, maybe. I mean, I'd have to look into that more. It might just be bullshit. But it was an interesting element to it. Because, that was some of the most fun stuff for me to get back to the movie itself. All of those exchanges between Mankiewicz and, like Louis B. Mayer and some of those other Selznick and stuff, all those studio heads. There was some funny stuff in there, I thought.
Yeah, I think there's a certain element of the film that this is such a personal thing for Fincher that's been ongoing for such a long time. It was his father's script. He wanted to make it back in the 90s after he made The Game, and he couldn't get around to making it. It was originally going to have Kevin Spacey and people like that in it.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things back then is they didn't want a black and white film, which is a huge pushing point. It's taken years on and off to get it done, and obviously his father's passed away in the meantime. Fincher's had a massive thing for Citizen Kane all these years, so it's been this ongoing personal, almost like an odyssey for him to get this made, So there's definitely a personal attachment to it.
Oh, big time.
It becomes a
He's obviously got a few ins with the guys at Netflix. He did Mindhunter a couple of seasons of, and the fans of that were really pissed when they heard that, they weren't going to be doing a third season. And Fincher came out and said something like, well, it's a very expensive show to create considering the amount of people that watch it. But everyone I know watches it, and it's got a huge, following. But here he is making this, quite, like I say, indulgent film in terms of Mank.
Yeah, it was kind of odd because, coming from Netflix, who've got almost boatloads of cash.
Look at the wallpaper in Queen's Gambit, and the lavish sets in stuff like Rebecca and The Crown, stuff like that. They are not short of a few bob to throw at production. No. They're not skimping. They're not guerrilla shooting. They're certainly not. But right. Let's talk about the film itself. Then, obviously, it follows Mankiewicz as he is just recovering from some sort of injury. I think from a car accident or something like that, isn't it? And he's taken to convalesce out at this place where he's supposed to be getting on with writing this script for Orson Welles, who's commissioned him to write Citizen Kane, and then through a series of flashbacks, which let you know they're flashbacks by shooting up the actual screenplay on screen. We basically pieced together, the history of Mankiewicz with the studio system, the history of Mankiewicz with William Randolph Hearst, who's excellently played by Charles Dance, and basically how he came to be, writing this script for Orson Welles. That's the setup. And then we sort of go into it, and it's very back in two film, isn't it? The timeline is broken up all to hell.
Yeah, but it's obviously very similar in that sense to how Citizen Kane plays out, really.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously grounded in the reality of it and shows the reflective kind of... Basically, Citizen Kane in some ways is almost autobiographical in some elements. Mm-hmm. Because what he's putting into the film is what he's seen and experienced, and he knows all these movers and shakers. And It's an interesting film because, as we say about it not being a film for general audiences, there is a bit in parts of this as well where it's like, if you don't know much about 1930s America, and not a lot of people do now, I guess, it's such a long time ago, but it's talking about the politics
far, far away.
In a galaxy far, far away, but it talks about the politics of the time, the way the society was, following the crash. I think you've got the Great Depression. You've got the unions. You've got a lot of poverty. You've got these studio heads, these rich asking all of their staff to take a pay cut in order to get by, even though it's made clear that they're
They're not short of a few bob. Like the Netflix guys now, be like Netflix turning around to everyone and saying, guys, we love what you're doing and we want to continue to do what we're doing, but we're going to have to ask you all to take half pay just for 8 weeks. Imagine that these days.
It is pretty shocking, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but it isn't. But it is, but it isn't.
Well, yeah, it's not unexpected, but yeah.
No, exactly. We know what these rascals were up to, and they're still at it. We know.
But it is a phenomenal story, and there's some great stuff in there. Great cast playing everyone. Gary Oldman is.
He's on fire in this one. I got to
yeah.
give it to him. Yeah, he is usually great. He's not always great. He's usually great. Maybe a bit of a hot take there. I don't know, but in this, he's brilliant. I thought he was so funny.
He's like a chameleon.
He played it just right. Well, anyone's like a chameleon. You just slap loads of makeup on them and give them like a prosthetics. Anyone's a chameleon in that sense.
But I think he's one of them actors that he is a big name, but he manages to blend into the roles and not become, it's Gary Oldman playing someone.
Yeah,
he's good at that.
When he did Tinker Tailor, he did an Alec Guinness. He definitely did Alec. And then everyone was saying, hey, you just did Alec Guinness on that Tinker Tailor. He said, no, I went back to the books. And it's like, oh, come on. No, you didn't.
I wouldn't even put myself in the same class as Alec Guinness, but there's, we're such different animals that you're going to come to it like anyone will come to something and reinterpret it.
But, there's some great fun, as we mentioned earlier. Charles Dance as Randolph First. I thought he was electric.
Now Charles Dance always is great. There's a great actor. Yeah.
You just kind of you see him on screen and you're just drawn to him. Is that electric kind of presence. Just a tremendous performance.
Hello?
And he's not in it a great deal.
Hello, I've just killed a man, and I did it on purpose.
And of course, there's Amanda Seyfried who plays Marion.
Of course, the great Amanda Seyfried. Love her. Everything she's ever been in. Brilliant.
She's great here. Plays an electric role. Again, she's magnetic, as she often is. And there's great performances in there. The one I was disappointed in, I think, was the one who played Orson Welles, Tom Burke. I thought I didn't buy that one that much, if I'm honest.
I thought in certain shots he looked like him, and he definitely sounded like him. You've got to give him that. He definitely had that.
He had the voice.
Orson Welles' voice. I can't do it.
But I just wasn't really. I didn't buy it that much, if I'm honest. His performances, and that was the one bit I was like, But
have you got a subscription to Netflix?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't buy it then. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Well, this is the problem here. Is that you need to cheer up. That's what's the problem here. No, the problem is here that is Orson Welles, isn't it? This is the problem. Do we need to say the words? Do we need to say the words Pauline Kael?
Pauline Kael, yeah. And this is the crux of my problems with the film. Yeah, basically.
Get it out, man. Don't bottle that shit up. You've got to let that out.
Let it all out.
Have you got pain in your heart? Let it out.
In my heart, keep it paining. I think it's a very, very good film, a very terrific film. But for anyone who knows a bit more about Citizen Kane or reads a bit more, they do start to get a very uneasy feeling of it's almost a hatchet.
Who wrote what, where, when, how, and who really did it? And now, there's this whole thing, everybody's saying it was just Mankiewicz and Orson only wrote his name on the paper, basically.
Basically, yeah.
But he still wants equal writing credit. And because of the Pauline Kael essay, the famous essay is that kind of thing was put out there. Apparently, Bogdanovich wrote a rebuttal to it and set the record straight because he was like big friends with Orson Welles. But because she got it, put as part of that collection, it was printed. That became, that became the canon in a sense. And
it did
people
for,
like yourself
for a
who
long
were big,
time,
big Orson Welles fans weren't very happy with that happening in Mank. That was like a bit of a hatchet job on Orson, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think for a long time that argument was bought, and that's what's kind of crept back into this script. Obviously, over the years since that, which with the essays from the 70s, it's been very much discredited, that theory, that idea, and thrown out the window, thankfully, because it's not very true. Mank, which of course had a huge input on the script, but Orson Welles went away and rewrote a lot of it and pieced it together with his own ideas and then created the film. And it would have been rewrites on set, I'm sure, as these things happen. So, in reality, it is a real 50-50 piece. So I think this idea that, especially at the end of the film, there was that taste in the mouth of like almost...
Yeah, it got a bit nasty.
Orson Welles' grave. And I was like, oh, that's wrong.
That. No.
And I just thought, for people who don't know, and for modern audiences, is that the right thing to do? I think it's a bit of a, come on,
Yeah. Well, hopefully, the right people who are watching this sort of stuff have read around the topic, have their own opinions, and see it as a one-sided kind of argument in terms of that's where the film's coming from, and there's more to it than that. So, but I don't know if anyone else is watching it. Like you say, your average Joe who's going to watch it and come away and say, Orson Welles didn't write all of Citizen Kane, but are those sort of people watching it anyway? They're probably not. They're probably like, no, I'm not watching that. It's black and white.
Yeah, I think that the people people I know
students,
who are not
film students, film maybe,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you expect them to read around and
exactly,
get a different perspective and point of view. I mean, it's a good film. It wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be, but no. I don't want it to sound like I'm detracting too much from it because I did enjoy it. It was very well put together. There were some hilarious moments in there and some beautiful cinematography. The score was excellent. There was a lot to like about it, but I do side with you there. I agree with you in that, it's not, it's not like most films. It's not 100% truth.
Yeah. And it's, as you say, it's a very, very good film. I think some people kind of said, oh, it's the best film of the year. And I was like, it's not the best film of the year. It's very, very good. But it's, and it's certainly up there. There was a few issues that kind of let it down for me, that being one of them. Yeah. It did, however, contain my favourite scene of the entire year that I've watched anyway.
Tell me.
And that is, of course, when Mank turns up drunk to the dinner party at Hearst's house.
Now that is a scene. That is a scene.
It is magnificent performance. The idea of it's a story within a story that's been told with a story within a story being told through the film you're watching, which is a story about a story. It's so magnificently kind of meta in those layers. And it's him basically describing Hearst as through this old folktale. Portraying it out as an idea that he's pitching, and he's drunk as hell at this dinner party.
And it's right to his face brilliant. As well. Enjoying the man's hospitality and spitting in his face at the same time. It is a bit, it's a teeth sucker, isn't it? It's certainly a...
It is.
I mean, that's the thing. Charles Dance, I thought he played quite in a way, a sympathetic version of William Randolph Hearst. It wasn't this big, tyrant, like someone like Paul Newman in Hoodsucker Proxy, he's got this kind of, dark underbelly in it or something. He played him a little bit more like a sweet old granddad that you kind of like, and he's maybe a bit stingy with the coin, and he's got some sort of, political agendas that he's pushing out there, but they were all doing that anyway, one way or another. So, I mean, that was another a very interesting side of it. I thought that was the one line that stuck with me was socialism is where we all share the wealth, and communism is where we all share the poverty, and you should know the difference. Or words to that effect. So there was a lot of I mean, this is the idea. If you mentioned socialism in the American theatre, anywhere in America, then it's instantly lumped in with communism and this kind of society that's oppressed and dictated to. But that isn't what obviously isn't what socialism's about. And it showed that there's that kind of side of Hollywood as well that has often stood up for that cause in a way and because it shows you the effects of it, where you've got all those guys, the grips or the cameramen or whatever they are, they all work for the studio as the crew, and they're all picketing outside because they're not getting any money, or they've been laid off and they've got a gripe with the heads of the studio, and it shows the effect on all these people. Yeah, that was quite funny as well, where that guy asked to borrow $1 off him, and Mank has to borrow the $1 himself from the security guy because he's such a bloody bum himself. But yeah, I mean, you say it's not the best film of the year, but we've had it as the film of the year because it was such a big thing, I think, for film lovers. It was so anticipated. It'll probably do well at the Oscars, I imagine. I dare say Gary Oldman will get nominated and maybe get nominated for Best Picture, etc. But it's going to be an interesting Academy Awards this year.
It is. I think we've picked it out. It's been an interesting and a very controversial, I think, in a way.
Yes,
and a hot
divisive film.
Yeah, and I think
totally
it's
agree.
Very interesting.
Yeah, well, I certainly want to see it a couple more times and sort of get everything out of it that I can. It's certainly worth giving more time to and studying. It's a very good film for film studies. Definitely, there's a lot to be mined
a lot
from
to be picked
that
out of it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So there we go. Then that was Mank. That was 2020. So let's move along. Okay, so now let's take a look at 20 of the greatest films of the last 20 years. So we're going from 2001 all the way up to 2020. And we're going to pick out between us 10 each of what we consider to be some of the greatest films of the 21st century so far, bar the year 2000, of course. Do you want to kick it off, Dave? Do you want to tell us what your first one is?
Yeah, so obviously these aren't really any particular order, I don't think, because it's kind of hard to order them up. But the first one I've picked out is Donnie Darko, 2001.
Yeah. Great film.
Very
original.
Very original. I remember first seeing it and just going, wow, this is different. And the whole Bunny Rabbit. And just a very different indie kind of film.
Frank the Rabbit, yeah. It was one of those as well. I had that... They did that great cover of that Tears for Fears track, and that kind of
world,
and that did very well. I think it sort of helped to propel the film. So okay. Number 2, then let's have a look. I put Mulholland Drive, David Lynch, 2001. We have briefly discussed this here and there before. I think I know it's a favourite of yours. Certainly a favourite of mine. It's been voted one of the best films of the 21st century so far by several of the leading list makers. It is a film that still bends people's noodle, or boils their noodle, or does crazy things to their noodle. If you want something doing to your noodle, watch Mulholland Drive. But great film.
Definitely.
Good old David Lynch. Gotta love a bit of David Lynch.
So number 3, I've got... I've put in here Skyfall. So I kind of debated whether to choose Casino Royale, maybe as the best Bond, but then I don't
think Casino Royale is a patch on Skyfall, to be honest with you.
No, I end up kind of going, Skyfall's been the best Bond, and I think one of the best Bonds.
Skyfall is one of the best of all Bonds. Definitely, I agree with you there. Definitely,
I think it's a amazing film. Went somewhere completely new with the franchise, and was very exciting. And
for me, that was the Bond film that brought it all together. It kind of almost had Easter eggs and little nods to the hat for the whole series. But yeah, if you've never watched a Bond film or never watched one of the Daniel Craig ones, that'd be the one to see. Okay, number 4, There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson, 2007. Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview, the oil baron. Just for me, that's one of my all-time favourite films. Is one of the greatest films ever made.
It is brilliant, absolutely brilliant film.
A stunning film, an absolutely stunning
amazing
film.
performances. Is
Great music, great cinematography, really standout performances. That I abandoned my child. I abandoned my child. It's unforgettable. I remember seeing that once. Somebody played that clip, and then it was like, and that's an Oscar, which it was. Okay,
for number 5, I've picked out The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yes, yes.
I love Martin Scorsese and I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and this was like the perfect meshing. It's an absolutely crazy film. Some people weren't big fans of this when it came out, but I thought it was just tremendous. What a ride that film is!
It is. Yeah, it is exactly a ride. It's you see stuff in that film you've never seen before. It portrays a level of excess that is bordering on, Machiavellian, craziness. Absolutely disgusting kind of behavior from these people. But yeah, there it is on film to witness. I mean, by the time they're throwing little people in Velcro suits on a target, you know that these have got too much money on their hands. But yeah, great film. Okay, number 6, I've got No Country for Old Men, the Coen Brothers film. 2007. It stars Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, Tommy Lee Jones, of course. Based on the Cormac McCarthy novel, and just one of the greatest adaptations from a book, I think, from literary material. It is a stunning film.
Yeah, I think it's a modern kind of, Western, that's kind of crossed with a neo-noir kind of feel. It is, it's very powerful and very, it's probably the Coen Brothers' best, maybe. Maybe
one of their best modern films. Yeah, certainly. I don't know. They've done so many good ones. I wouldn't like to say.
Yeah, it's hard.
I love it, but I love Big Lebowski more. So, Anyway, maybe the best of the 21st century. Let's move on. Let's have a look at number 7.
Okay, so I've picked out Toy Story 3, which I think is the only animation in our picks, I believe.
Well, you gotta give it a chance. Representing animation.
Yeah, I think Pixar is such a talented studio. They do put out absolutely brilliant animated films where the stories actually make sense. And Toy Story 3 for me was a culmination of a very long, protracted storytelling from a real life perspective. And for me personally, the first one came out when I was very young, and I saw that. The second one came out when I was about 10, and it would kind of fit then. And by the time it got to this one, it came out, I was just about to go to university. I was kind of the same age.
It's a little bit like the same age as Andy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the kind of journey felt the same, and it felt like perfect for anyone who was my age. Storytelling release dates they landed on was perfect, and I'm not ashamed to admit I was crying in the cinema watching it, and I was glad I was wearing the 3D glasses so that the kids next to me couldn't see that I was crying. So. But yeah, very powerful film. Yeah,
it is emotional for considering it's an animated feature. I think everybody felt, even older people who'd followed the journey of Woody and Buzz and everybody through to that point. I mean, the bit that got me when I went to see it, I think I went to see it in the cinema as well. And, the bit where they're sort of, they're about to go into the furnace and get burned. Yeah. And it really does push it to the point of it actually convinces you. It convinces you that actually this might be the end for him, or in some way. And I was thinking, no way. And you feel that it almost primes you then for the end scene where, it is very emotional that he gives the toys away to to the other child and sort of passes them on. Haven't seen Toy Story 4, but you told me not to.
Yeah, no. It's
okay.
very bad.
That's no problem. Okay, next one, number 8. Number 8, the infinity symbol, is The Master. Another Paul Thomas Anderson here, 2012. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, I think, is in there. It's based loosely on the life or part of the life of L. Ron Hubbard, the guy who, the Scientology guy. Well, it's certainly sort of a pastiche of that in one way or another, but told through the eyes of this World War II veteran who's suffering from, post-traumatic stress disorder without even knowing it. Amazing performances from Hoffman and Phoenix. Real great chemistry on screen. It was shot in 70mm. It's like a beautiful, gorgeous picture. One of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites of all time. Loved it.
That's great film.
To be honest, if I could have, I would have just filled it full of Paul Thomas Anderson. Phantom Thread isn't in our list here, but if it was up to me, it would be. Not Toy Story 3, but.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman, we mentioned before, is such a tremendous actor, and it's so sad he passed away. And that The Master's probably his best film, really. Amazing performance.
Maybe. Well, he is amazing in it. He was just getting better and better. We've said it before. He was getting better and better, and then, popped his clogs. There we go. Okay, number 9. What have we got?
Okay, for number 9, I've picked out the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, yes. Love this.
Which is
absolutely love this. It is a fun film. This is Wes Anderson at the height of his powers, which will only be topped by The French Dispatch, which hasn't come out yet. But I think I've got a feeling that's going to be even better again. But yeah,
I hope it is, because it does look really fun, and it does, even better to get something even better. Yeah,
but the Grand Budapest is so good. It's such a good film. I mean, some people hate Wes Anderson. I mean, some people who I share a hell of a lot of taste with in terms of movies, with one thing or another, don't like Wes Anderson, and it's like, I can see why some people maybe wouldn't like the visual style of it, but I find it's quite deep cinema when you scratch away that sort of candy cane surface, if that makes sense. That's a bit of a thing to say on it, candy cane surface, but you know what I mean.
Candy cane surface.
That sort of, veneer of, it's almost like some of it is almost purposely looks fake or false, But
I think it's interesting with Wes Anderson, because I think he's got a great catalogue of films. But I'm give or take on some of it. I mean, the animated stuff I'm not too keen on, like the stop motion stuff. But the live action films he's done, I think, are tremendous. But I think there is a certain taste element to it. I mean, for some people it really doesn't hit the bell, but I think it's great.
I do too, and Grand Budapest is a fine choice, sir, an absolutely fine choice. Just for Ralph Fiennes alone, absolutely hilarious in there. Okay, that was number 9. So number 10, I chose Old Boy, 2003, the original film, Old Boy, Korean film. When I don't know if you've seen it, but when I first saw it, it absolutely blew my head off. So I've seen it, so the story. The guy, he's bit of a degenerate loser, alcoholic, and then suddenly he's knocked out and wakes up in a hotel room, and he's kept there for God knows how long, 15 years or something, before they let him out, and then it gets crazy from there. But yeah,
it gets very crazy. Yeah,
it's an unbelievably good film. That remade by Spike Lee. Are you British? Remade by him, but and I like the remake as well. I thought the Josh Brolin, it was good, but the original is the best. So it's on our list.
I think with these things, often the remake can be fine with some of these films they remake, but when
obviously
you go back
just making them for an American audience because they don't want to read subtitles. But
But usually the
original was
originals are the best with these things,
Yeah.
Chinese films and Japanese films, and this one's Korean.
I think with all of them, French films, German films, Indian films, the original usually is the best. But yeah, some remakes are great as well. Look at Insomnia by Christopher Nolan. That is a great remake of a great original. They're both good. Let's not get sidetracked by all this, though. Let's keep moving.
Okay, yeah, for number 11, I've picked out Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Dundee. Dunkirk, yeah,
course.
Good film.
From 2017, Nolan's take on it. This was one of Tarantino's favourites of the last decade as well, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's such a tremendous it's a different film, because obviously it's great to see a more modern World War II film done on a big epic scale like that, because I don't think they've done as much on such a big epic scale for a while. It's nice seeing Nolan go and take on something different. That wasn't so sci-fi or anything like that.
No.
Even though I love that.
Yes.
And it was so amazing, I think, because we're such a dialogue-like film.
Yeah.
A film that did so much in its visuals and was extremely powerful with so little dialogue throughout it. And the visual style of the thing. I mean, putting bloody IMAX cameras in old World War II planes and flying them into the city. It's so crazy what they were putting off.
Yeah.
But it looked incredible for doing so. So yeah, that's up there on my list.
Great film. Okay, number 12, I've got City of God. Remember that one? Brazilian one, 2002. About all those street kids in Brazil that grow up to just rule the city, be a bunch of gangsters. Really visually stunning film, really well-made film. Great music in it. Some really rough stuff, 5-year-olds blasting people. Oh, jeez. It is heavy as hell. But if you like that sort of gangster film, if you've grown up on Scorsese and, when I was like 14, 15, I was watching Taxi Driver, so you're going to gravitate towards films like City of God eventually. But yeah, I thought that was worth a mention. Totally unforgettable film.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful kind of contrast between the beautiful visuals and the story that's being told is it's a phenomenal piece of filmmaking, I think.
Okay, number 13, Lucky for Some.
Okay, here is Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
You had to sneak a Star Wars film in. But to be fair to you, you've picked the best one of the new ones.
Yeah, I think in the last 20 years, the best Star Wars film that's been released is Rogue One, and I think it was so much more than just a Star Wars film.
How long ago was Revenge of the Sith?
2003. So
that's better than Rogue One. That's
2005, sorry, maybe.
I'd say that's better than Rogue One, but
I think what was special
that's just my opinion. That's all.
I do love Revenge of the Sith. I think what's interesting with Rogue One, though, is there's a lot of people I know who are not massive Star Wars fans who loved it.
Yeah.
And
it's like Deadpool with people who don't like superheroes films, but I like Deadpool. Deadpool were good. Yeah. I can get it.
I think it managed to capture people who perhaps weren't, as big a fans of Star Wars or, not as interested in it. And it did such a thing that was different with the films because, they killed the cast, so.
Kill the cast. They're not coming back for Rogue 2.
And the one big note of it, such a beautiful film. Never has a Star Wars film looked so beautiful as that.
Well, I mean, The Last Jedi was beautiful. They're all beautiful when you look at them, but yeah, it's a good film. I did enjoy Rogue One. It is good fun. Gareth Edwards is a good director. I think another Welsh guy, so very good for him. But hopefully he gets to do some more Star Wars stuff because it was a great film. Okay, that was 13. Number 14, Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. I adore this film. I love Westerns. I absolutely do love Westerns. Always have, always will. And you don't get many good westerns nowadays. They've kind of been done so much, done to death, and it's not the most popular genre, especially with modern audiences. But this one was really something else. Visually stunning. I think it was shot by Deakins. So obviously Brad Pitt in there, and Casey Affleck, who plays an amazing part. You've got Sam Shepard as well as Frank James in there. And a really slow burning, dramatic film. It's not full of gunfights and blasting and all that. It's about the characters. It's a character piece.
It's a character piece, yeah.
Yeah, it's a character piece, yeah. I'm smoking too many fags again, Dave. But yeah, Brad Pitt is brilliant in it. And as I said, so is Casey Affleck. I loved it. I really love it. I lent it to someone. I lent the DVD to someone. I said, check this film out. It's really worth seeing. And then, a couple of weeks went by, whatever, 3 weeks, a month. I seen him again. I said, have you got my Jesse James, by the way? And they said, I don't know what happened to that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. I know, and I was like, oh. Okay, so I got to get that one again, and probably get a nice Blu-ray copy or something.
Mentioning Casey Affleck, I think that's probably his best performance as well.
Well, have you seen Manchester by the Sea?
I haven't. No.
Well, that'll change your mind when you see that.
That might change my mind.
But he is brilliant in Jesse James. He really is. It's just there's no denying it. Love him or hate him, because he's a divisive figure as well. But as an actor in that, he was bloody good. So let's move along, my friend. Let's go to number 15, please.
Number 15. At this point, I've picked out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes. It's got to be in there. I totally agree with you. It's got to be in there. If that's not one of the best films of the last 20 years, then I don't know what it is. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's Tarantino's best film of the last 20 years. I reckon.
It's my favourite.
He's done some amazing films. It's so hard to pick out, but I think this is the one that stands out in the last 20 years for me. I came out of that film just going, wow. It was mind-blowing. It was different. It was evocative. Amazing performances. The soundtrack was absolutely astonishing. Everything about it. And
if you want to hear Dave say all this and more about this wonderful, wonderful film, then go and listen to our Favourite Films podcast. I think it's episode 3, which is about an hour of us two talking about this film. So let's leave it there.
Absolutely.
Brilliant film. Love it. Okay, next one I think is number 16 now. We're getting up there. We're flying high now. I chose Amélie, 2001.
Classic.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Audrey Tautou as the titular character, Amélie. Brilliant film. One of the best films ever made. How about that?
It's certainly up there. It's a very beautiful piece.
Yeah,
really.
I love French films. I love French cinema. I mean, the French invented cinema, the Lumières. It's kind of a French thing, really, in a lot of ways. And I just find, some of the best films I've ever seen are French films, and that's one of them.
It has a real va-va-voom.
It does have a va-va-voom, doesn't it? Oh, yes. I see you speak a little French, huh?
Ah, oui.
C'est très bien.
Petit.
Très bien, David. Jacques.
Très bien.
Yeah, I mean, let's not do that anymore. French people watching, I'll just be like, this. Are you British? Are you British? Are you British? Yeah, anyway, that was Amélie. Love it. Let's get on. Next one. That'll be number 17.
Okay, I've picked out Inception.
Inception. Another one we've done a podcast for. How about that?
Yeah.
That was on our favourite films. I think episode 7, somewhere there. Have a look on the channel. Like go check it out.
Go check Inception. It out. It's a tremendous film. Changed a lot of people's opinions on what could be achieved, I think, in cinema. So really important piece. Go check out the podcast. We talk about it for an hour.
And a modern classic.
Absolutely.
18. Okay, I chose Brokeback Mountain, which is just one of the best films ever made as well. It's incredible. Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, and it was directed by Ang Lee, and it's probably one of the greatest modern love stories. That's why I chose it really as well, because it's one of those films that, you know, certainly around the time when it came out as well, you know, a lot of blokes were, no, watching that. But really, it is just, you know, if you can get over that, if you're not a gay person, if you're straight and you can get over that, and you want to watch a brilliant love story, really great drama, full of anguish, full of, you know, in a way you've never seen it before. It's an amazing film.
It would be interesting if that film was released today, I think. The difference in reaction, perhaps.
I think I'd like
years.
to think there'd be a less, you know,
I think it'd be less of a throwback
it.
to it. Yeah, I think so.
And that's probably been helped by the fact that film came out. It did break down barriers, and it did, you know, normalize some things that needed normalizing. It's incredibly powerful.
It is. It's a fantastic film. Really
great performances. Heath Ledger again, the great Heath Ledger. It just it breaks your heart, man. It's astonishing, stonking film. Really good. Okay, then that brings us up to 19. The average age of a combat soldier in Vietnam was 19.
19.
In Vietnam, he was 19.
So I've got here The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Why so serious?
Yeah.
Just it changed so much. I mean, just for me
we've done the
personally,
Joker a lot of times. We've done the Why So Serious thing. What about a Tangerine? Can we just talk about the Tangerine? Can we play a little bit of that video of the Tangerine edit?
One day, I saw a child playing with a tangerine, the size of a tangerine. The bandit had been the tangerine.
Because that's just the greatest thing ever to come out of it, I think.
It is brilliant.
But yeah, it's a classic. It's the best comic book movie ever made, hands down. It is.
And I think it changed so much people's opinion of cinema in the last just over 10 years or so. I mean, it made people go, "Oh, you can take these things and make them serious, and do something proper with them, rather than them just being silly throwaway things." It's so important. And for me personally, I think when I saw the film, I was like, "This changes my opinion of what can be done." Just amazing.
Yeah, it's a great film. It's great fun. I've probably seen it about 25 times, but yeah. Who doesn't love The Dark Knight? Okay, then that brings us to number 20, last one I had on the list, Dead Man's Shoes, Shane Meadows, Paddy Considine, 2004, British revenge movie. As I told you, I used to work in like a DVD store, video store years ago, and Dead Man's Shoes had come out, and obviously you get loads of stuff in each month, and you put the new stuff out, and you don't get to see all of it straight away. Like we were saying, we haven't watched all the films from 2020 yet. You just don't have time to watch them all. And Dead Man's Shoes had been out on the shelf for a while, and they'd gone out and come back, and it had this cover of just like a sort of silhouette of this guy with an axe, and I thought it was a horror film, so I didn't really bother with it. I just left it. Dead Man's Shoes. I thought, yeah, it's about some crazy axe murderer. Maybe I hadn't looked into it properly. And then a customer brought it back, and they were like, "Have you seen this yet?" And I was like, "No, it was any good." And they were like, "Just stop whatever you're doing, put it in and watch it." And I was like, "Okay." And then I read the back for the first time, and it was like, wow, revenge movie, British. And, it's just such a good reveal at the end as well. I wouldn't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's really powerful.
Terrific stuff. Great for a British choice as well to be in there. Shane Meadows is such a great director. He's done some really cool things. From up north as well. So
yeah, he's he is north, but yeah, he's Derbyshire, isn't he? Derbyshire,
somewhere
around that way.
Yeah,
Derby. Taduk.
Ta.
I wonder
Thank you very much,
if
Tom.
Americans watch it. And are you American? Are you watching? Do you understand it when British people say things like "Taduk"? Do you know what that means? Taduk means thank you, love. Thank you very
they're
much.
going up north. What do they mean? Alaska?
Crazy. Well, there we go. That's 20 films from the last 20 years. That's our list. Put it in your pipe, smoke it up, and let's move along. Enjoyed that. Well done, Dave.
Let us know your picks below.
Type 20 films in the comments. I dare you.
Yeah. Come on. Let's see what you got.
Come on. You're sitting there on New Year's Day, hangover. Ugh, nothing better to do. Jump on More Movies YouTube video and type out your best 20 films of the last 20 years. You lazy bastard. Go on. And that brings us to our top 5 films of 2020. So here we are, the top 5. We've had the worst. Now we've got what we consider to be the best out of the films we've seen. So,
okay, yeah. To start us off at number 5.
Oh, numéro 5.
We started off with Kajillionaire.
Kajillionaire. Loved it. Really
Great
loved
film.
it.
We covered it earlier in our weekly show podcast.
We did talk about it. Yeah.
And there's a review on the website, I believe, as well.
There is a review on the website as well. So if you wanted to find out about Kajillionaire a little bit more, you could listen to our take on it on the previous movie show episode, or go and read the review. But just go and watch the film and make your own mind up. It's damn well worth a watch.
It's brilliant.
Evan Rachel Wood. Brilliant. Really loved it. Miranda July. I was going to say April. July. Miranda July. Oh, okay. I'm so weak, Anakin. I'm so weak. Okay, number 4. Tell them what they got, Dave. What's number 4?
Number 4, they got The Hunt.
Oh, wow. Now, this, to me, was one of the best films of the year. It's so much fun. Very much smacks of that kind of battle royale kind of vibe. Waking up in a place where you are the prey. You're going to be hunted. But it's done in such a way that it's got a real dark black comic edge to it. So it's done, rather than Battle Royale being quite a serious film, and although having a few moments of levity in it, really is quite gritty and serious, whereas The Hunt was, it was violent and it was suspenseful and action-packed, but it was also hilarious. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, actually. It's one of the ones I haven't had a chance to watch, but it's been so highly recommended by multiple people to me.
They're right.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree with them. Definitely watch it. It's good fun. It's good quality. It's satisfying ending. It ticks all the boxes. It's really good. So there we go. That's number 4. Number 3. What's Behind the Doors?
It's the Trial of the Chicago 7, of course.
Wow. Well, we both loved this, didn't we?
Yeah, Sorkin's effort from Netflix earlier in the year. Just brilliant story, brilliant film.
Brilliant
we did
performances.
Cover it in the series.
Yes, we did. That was film of the week. In one of the episodes. Go and have a look for that.
Great film, great performances from everyone in there. Even Sacha Baron Cohen playing his part.
He was great. Yeah,
and all that great Sorkin dialogue, the fast pacey dialogue throughout. It's so much fun.
And he did a great job at directing it as well. All round bloody good film. Great historical film. Very much relevant for the kind of year we all had in 2020. Okay, number 2.
And there we go. It's Mank, of course. We talked about this earlier. It
had to be in there. We couldn't have a top 5 of 2020 without Mank being in there. So, yeah, there we go. We know what we think about that, having spoke about it on this very episode. So we'll move right along to the top spot. Numero uno, number one.
Dun, 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 dun.
And we know where it's going to be, of course.
It's Tenet.
It's Tenet.
Best film of the year. Right, shout it out, hands down.
The only film we watched in the theatre this year.
It is. It's the only film I've had a chance to watch at the pictures. We both went to see it. Nolan back to his best, as he always is. Eclectic, high level expectations from the modern day savant that he is. Just brilliant. Loved every bit of it. We covered it, of course, in a special hour-long podcast, which you can find on the YouTube channel too. Yeah, for our in-depth thoughts of the film from back then. It's there, but brilliant,
worth seeing,
just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, at this point, at this juncture, I've still only seen it once, and that was the cinema viewing. I am very much looking forward to going through it again and picking out all those little biddies. Haven't had a chance yet, but only because time's been a factor. So it's definitely high on the rewatch list. And yeah, I would agree with you. As you know, we've already discussed, that probably is our number one film of 2020. For obvious reasons that we've already covered. But yeah, not bad considering what a year it's been. Not bad that, of all the films to go and see at the cinema, that was the one to go and see. That was the one not to miss. I didn't want to miss it on the big screen,
Absolutely. And quite a good selection of 5 films, really, considering a lot of stuff's been put back this year and all the different problems that have happened. It's a great top 5, I think. Yeah,
you wouldn't go far wrong watching all of those. There's something in there for everyone, I think. Most people would love all 5 themselves as well. But yeah, that's pretty solid. It's a solid roundup. Not a bad year. Certainly not a terrible year for cinema.
Okay, and we got a special film quiz for this New Year special. We've decided to do a film quiz of the movie show. So we've got 10 questions about the movie show, the whole first series, which you can, of course, watch all on YouTube. What we're asking is that you answer the questions, you submit them to us, and you could win a movie loot box from the movie show, from the Cinema Plus podcast.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, doesn't it? So you've got till the end of January to get your answers in. Send them us on Twitter or on YouTube. We'll get them either way. And, see how you do. So we get on with the questions, Greg?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Question number 1 then. In episode 1, during the movie rant, what did Dave think was one of the worst films he has ever seen?
Okay, and question 2, in episode 2, what was the movie of the week?
Okay, question 3, in episode 3, what t-shirt was Greg wearing?
In episode 4, what score did Greg get on the movie quiz?
Question 5, in episode 5, what did Greg's movie sign say in the background?
That would be this sign here. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Okay. In episode 6, what was the colour of Dave's tie?
Okay, in episode 7, what was Greg's top 80s comedy film?
In episode 8, did Dave choose James Stewart or Robert Ryan in Red Pill, Blue Pill?
And question 9, in episode 9, what was the movie of the week?
And the final question, question 10. How many times in the entire series, episodes 1 to 10, did the censor go off? And that's it. That's our 10 questions. What I do suggest is that you submit your answers with your name to moremoviesweb@gmail.com. rather than putting them in the comments or sending us. You could send us a direct message on Twitter if you wanted to do it that way, but otherwise send an email, moremoviesweb@gmail.com. But don't put your answers in the comments because some people are going to cheat. You know what I mean?
Very much so. We'll leave the questions up on the screen for a second there.
Yeah, and I think we'll leave it till the end of January for people to get their answers in, because not everybody's going to see this straight away, of course, and we'll leave the competition open. And then after the end of January, we'll draw a close to it, and then we'll announce the winner after that. But you will get a really super-duper More Movies loot crate, which was full of all sorts of movie goodies, and it's well worth answering these questions, trying to get them right, just to get yourself some free goodies. Why not? Hey?
Woohoo!
Brilliant. Okay, that's the film quiz for you. Okay, Dave, it's medication time. It is medication time. After all that booze you had last night on New Year's Eve, you're going to need a few Alka-Seltzers and a couple of paracetamol and probably 1 or 2 ibuprofen before we're finished. So shall we should we dole out your pills? Obviously,
let's dole them out.
Obviously, this week is a 2020 red pill, blue pill. We'll start the ball rolling with The Trial of the Chicago 7 or The Five Bloods.
I'd have to go with Trial of Chicago 7.
True History of the Kelly Gang or Greyhound?
Probably True History of the Kelly Gang.
I'm Thinking of Ending Things or The Old Guard?
I'll go with I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Bill and Ted Face the Music or Borat subsequent movie film?
I'm actually going to go with Borat on that one.
Okay. Most Excellent?
Excellent!
Kajillionaire or Yes, God, Yes?
Kajillionaire.
Palm Springs or The King of Staten Island?
Palm Springs.
The Bee Gees or Frank Zappa?
I'm going to go with the Bee Gees.
Go on then. One more time, just for old time's sake. Okay, stop that. That's enough. That's plenty of Bee Gees now. His House or Us?
I'm going to go with Us.
Okay. The Gentleman or Bad Boys for Life?
The Gentleman.
Okay, Uncle Frank or Emma?
Uncle Frank.
John Voight or James Woods?
Oh!
Got to have one round to your place for a New Year's dinner. Who's it going to be?
James Woods.
Yeah. Well, yeesh. Not much of a choice, that one, was it? Okay,
isn't, no.
So redress the balance. Jeff Bridges or Mark Hamill?
Mark Hamill.
Okay. Well, Jeff can come to my place then. And we'll put him up here. Hope he is getting better at the moment. Poor old Jeff Bridges.
I hope so, yeah.
Suffering with cancer at the moment. Hopefully he makes full recovery soon. Okay. Enola Holmes or Birds of Prey?
Oh, Jesus.
We saved some good ones here for Red Pill, Blue Pill, didn't we?
2 piles of yeah.
Birds of Prey wasn't so bad, but...
I'll go with Birds of Prey. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll go with that.
Okay. The Invisible Man or The Wolf of Snow Hollow?
I've actually not seen either. So, but I've heard good things about The Invisible Man, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay, good with that one. The Platform or The Possessor?
The Platform.
That was a really good film, The Platform. We didn't mention it yet in this episode, but Spanish film, came out on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, give that one a watch. It's pretty good. The Social Dilemma or I Am Greta?
These were both crap as well, to be honest. But I'll go with I Am Greta.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're both documentaries. Social Dilemma, of course, was about using social media stuff. But
inaccurate nonsense. That's what it was.
Whereas I Am Greta, of course, is I think she's got some good points to make. Anyway, The Rental or The Lodge?
The Lodge.
It won't be The Rental, no. Extraction with Chris Hemsworth or Rogue with Megan Fox?
Extraction.
Okay. Mosul or Mulan?
I'll go with Mosul.
Downhill or Eurovision?
Downhill.
Rebecca or The Witches?
Go with Rebecca.
Little Women or Saint Maud?
Saint Maud.
Okay. Johnny Depp or Amber Heard?
Johnny Depp.
Come on, it's got to be Johnny. It's our Johnny.
I'm with you,
Poor old
Johnny.
Johnny. Yeah, we're with you, Johnny. We're with you, Johnny. Love you, man. Okay, and the last one to really spin you out on Red Pill, Blue Pill 2020. 1 more year of Corona or 4 more years of Trump?
I'd actually rather go with 4 more years of Trump back in. You can stomach that from a distance. Another year of Corona, I think, would be... Oh, dear God. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Dave has just admitted his obsession for Donald Trump.
Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground.
Well, no, none of us are fans of the coronavirus, of course. Hopefully we're going to see the back of it before long in 2021.
Please.
But to be honest with you, if 4 more years from him and his lot is irreparable damage, it wouldn't matter about coronavirus then. So anyway, that's your juice and lot. You've had your pills. Move along, Pilgrim. That's it. We're done for another year. I'll try and get your prescription renewed for 2021, and we'll do some more pills.
Excellent.
Sounds like the old days. We'll do some more pills.
Get some more pills, man.
It's not what you think. Okay. So, yeah, there we go. What a crazy year it's been, eh? 2020. It's been, in a way, I'm going to get this out of the way now, but in a way, it's been a little bit of a Twilight Zone year. There we go. I just wanted to say that so we could include our favourite show.
Well, that's it. And we have plenty to tuck into, do we?
Loads of tucking in. Yeah. And there's going to be loads more. I mean, there's going to be some fantastic stuff coming in 2021. We're going to be doing some podcasts about said films. We're going to also be doing some stuff about films that have already been released years ago and established. We'll bring the movie show back again at some point during the year. So please do keep an eye on us here. Subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon so you know when we're releasing new stuff. Give us a shout, let us know what you're doing. We're always interested to see independent cinema or short films made by you. We love that sort of stuff. Give us a shout. You know, tell us what you're doing, and we'll do a review of your film on the show. We'll give you a bit of a go and watch these guys. Bit of a shout out. We love that sort of stuff, don't we, Dave?
We do. It's great to hear from everyone. It's great to see everyone on Twitter. So please keep sending your messages and your comments. We love it all. And watching here on YouTube, we'll keep putting up more content constantly. So
yeah,
just stay tuned.
That's it. Stay tuned. Stay safe. Peace and love, as Ringo would say.
And enjoy your party-filled New Year.